Hey, Western Po Boy Savage of the Derpy Redneck channel. Sorry that the original theme that was used for the intro is no longer being here, but the animation's still here. But yeah, copyright monopoly justifying bollocks fucked me in the ass. Enjoy the show. What's up, YouTubers? Episode 3. I'm going to link you all these references soon enough. Yeah. I'd recommend the website Journey to Forever. If you wanted to support it, donate through PayPal. It's a great fucking deal. It's a badass system. I found it at one point. Oh yeah, it's in my biggest permaculture evidence text document. But yes. There's a few books to link as well. Let me, I got statistics, I got books to show, and everything else. All up the ass. Now, what are the claims I have for ethanol? Okay, there's 13 pros to ethanol, and then there are about 7 or 8 different critiques on problems and solutions. The infrastructure already was lack of good infrastructure is already explained in the first 2 videos, so it'll just be a rehash of that to make sure that if those who have not caught up, people who have not seen the first 2 episodes will be caught up to speed. Ethanol is far less corrosive than methanol. That's a great thing. Methanol eats away at aluminum, for fuck's sakes. 10 milliliters of that can cause you to go blind if you inhale the vapors or it gets through your skin. 100 milliliters will kill you. 2. It is ethyl alcohol is a renewable fuel made from plants or a variety of different resources, which in this case we call feedstocks. Then explain how that goes in the previous 2 episodes. 3. It provides a good octane at a low cost as an alternative to harmful fuel additives. 4. Ethanol is biodegradable without harmful effects on the environment. 5. Ethanol blends greatly cut down emissions of hydrocarbons, a major contributor to the depleting of the ozone layer, which is a bad thing. 6. High-level ethanol blends lower nitrogen oxides by potentially up to 20%. 1/5. It's pretty good. May not seem much, but that's pretty decent for exhaust tailpipe smoke. 7. High ethanol blends can cut emissions of volatile organic compounds. Not the same as those that are released if you don't use VOC scrubbing add-ons to alcohol plants, but that's that group of compounds known as volatile organics. They cut the volatile organics down by 3/10 or more. They are major sources of ground level ozone forming. VOCs are. 8. As an octane enhancer, ethanol can cut emissions of cancer-causing benzene and butadiene, I hope I said that right, by more than half. Sulfur dioxide and particulates, tiny particles, sooty particles, are drastically lowered with ethanol. 10. Ethanol can easily be used to make ethyl tert-butyl ether, or ETBE, which is some badass stuff. 11. Ethanol and methanol fuels have an evaporation rate that's so big it can cool intake air going to the engine, which allows them to run cooler. Ethanol is number 12. Ethanol burns at about 100, either from 140 degrees or 40 Celsius, 40 degrees Fahrenheit or 40 Celsius to 150 degrees Fahrenheit or 65.5556 Celsius cooler than the gasoline engine on average. 12. Ethanol burns about... Okay, I already said that, sorry. 13. Ethanol can allow more aggressive tuning of a fucking motor. Especially if you're a racer, because of the cooling effects to the intake air it can bring as it can fully vaporize. Now here go the not so great points. So, a lot of this is just rehashing what I've previously said and shown in the first two episodes. Problems with ethanol, critiques, and possible or likely solutions. Number 1, ethanol contains about 30% less energy per unit than gasoline by volume. As a result, even a well-tuned performance car running on E85, which is just 15% gasoline, added to dried ethanol, it's added to it for better cold starting. The pure moonshine that's dewatered, you may get, the pure moonshine that's dewatered, you may get 20 to 35% less miles per gallon, which depends on how the engine is tuned and if there's aftermarket mods added in. Which, by the way, talked about. Hypermiling miniseries. 2. The plants they use were taken down and rebuilt into small and medium scale copycats and placed closer to where the stuff is grown, using small to medium scale capitalism. That would be part one of the issues of ethanol possibly solved, because you're not trucking the grains miles and miles and miles to massive mega plants, which I've shown on maps and showed statistics. And the feedlot corn used to feed the cows, it's number 3, to lure deer were pressed to get that corn oil out, and to make biodiesel on the farm to reduce diesel fuel costs, and to also contribute, instead of using corn oil as a so-called fuel, get that the fuck out of here, because it's not. It's a non-food, I would argue. You contribute it to biodiesel making altogether. If you really want to help with the vegetable oil, you would advocate using monolaurin, which can be made from coconut oil, or if those with coconut allergies, babasu oil to help them South American, Central American babasu palm farmers. In people in the tropics that grow coconut all over the place. That it helps all them, every one of the farmers, especially those that are close to you, like Hawaii, Central America, and South America. For us over here, because it cuts down shipping and whatnot. Unneeded costs. You take that corn oil out, you feed, you get it, and then you take the pressed corn, dry mill, ferment it to, traditional, ferment the starches and the alcohol, distill them off, and then, finally you'd have a feed that distiller grain, distiller grain feed that could fatten them animals up better pound per pound than the original corn. You can use this to mix with scratch grains if you wanted to, or mix with sorghum or whatever the fuck else. Or, just, as an adjunct to animal feed if you did distiller. If all you'd have to do with it is just mix it with the corn to make, to distill off after you pressed oil out of the corn. Mix sorghum with it, just ferment that, distill it off. You'd have this ferment, it would take less pounds of this needed to make that 1 pound of beef or venison or even bison. And fermenting completes some of the proteins, lowers lectins probably due to enzyme and yeast interaction due to the Ehrlich pathway. But it's also how these small amounts of higher alcohols, such as those in white liquor that react to that which I explained already, a thin layer. I don't know if I explained that or not. Essentially, whiskey is just a food. I'd argue it's food. always. What happens is the white liquor. Basically, what happens? The reason they char the inside of oak barrels as well will be explained here. What they do is they take son of a bitch. What they do is they take the initial. Sorry, I'm on my words. They take that white liquor. It's got little bits of fusel alcohol in it, fusel alcohol and certain tiny amounts of higher alcohols and higher esters in it. That just naturally occur because the Eldridge pathway and interprotein interaction, enzyme reactings with yeast, and that yeast fermenting these products to break down on the side. These and the ethanol itself in the white liquor react to this thin brown layer that's between the char and the side of the planks of wood they make barrels. They burn the inside of the char. It's right in between that and the untouched wood. There's a thin brown layer. This white liquor and all this stuff spinning in it react to that react that brown caramelized wood or caramelized ligocellulose to react to it, and that's what makes your browning until your brandy vines and your fruit brandies essentially, or your of all different types of brandy vines, the rums and your whiskeys and shit get that brown color and the different flavors from that. But anyway, just let you know that. But essentially, this distiller grain from whiskey makers, did this too, because that make biodiesel for their equipment, make fuel costs go down. Everybody be a little happier, costs go down. But anyways, this leftover grain can also be mixed with a little bit of Purslane, just a little bit, because you don't want to overdo the oxalates in it. But it's got a little bit of EPA in it, surprisingly. Just a little bit of Purslane and a teensy bit of the ryegrass, and if you want, you can add small amount of MCTs, from either coconut or babassu oil, which cut down methane even more. And if you let the grains rot out on the ground, it's less. And you can add a little bit of astaxanthin. You can add a supplement by Michael Carrick called Biopreparation. Small doses off and on, and give them probiotics, which cut methane down a lot. You can use this new distiller grain solubles to mix the Purslane, small amounts of Purslane, and the little bits of freshly cut ryegrass too, so they get the fat soluble vitamins go up, the nutrition of the meats, and you can use this mixture I'm just explaining to you. Even if you add a little biopreparation, a little MCT, a little MCT on by drop, a few drops of that in there, or a few drops, stir it up. There's a deer luring or bison feed as well. They'll make 6 fats are used to make biodiesel. They're not going to affect. They're not there, so they can't fuck up the meat. All this other stuff takes its place. You could do this, and it actually would be fucking fantastic. And you would only do it just like you traditionally would. Just as an additive feed ration to the grass and woody brush feeding they already do. You can use this as an alternative to sweet feed for milking goats, by the way. This shit, and same with sheep as well, by the way. So all this cost would go down so much, nutrition would come up. Now you will have fertilizer, you see, and it would have to be sent back out there with the ground up clippings of the leftovers from growing the beans and the squash with the corn, like I explained previously. So, and this could either be you could put it in methane digesters to make methane that could be cleaned up and used to make natural gas cheaper, while leaving the fertilizer left over, or you can use that liquid digestate to go into composting. That composting can go out there, kill off weeds, make the next rows of crops ready. I mean, there's so much can be done, and so much you can hire people to do. And they have partial automation in certain places, reduce cost or juggle whichever's cheaper, but automate where you can and make a nice little middle ground. It'll kill weeds and ready the rows for the next crops, and all this other stuff. There's so much. All these things can be done. The infrastructure. It's just crazy what can be really done if we gave it a shot. Yeah, it's crazy what can be done if we really tried. 5. Gasoline is formulated to have a shit ton of different things added to it. I'm bringing this up for reasons, because some of these points are not part of the video, but they need to be addressed so people will know. There's a lot to discuss. Gasoline is formulated to have a shit ton of different things added in it, including detergents to control the carbon deposits, but fucking Christ, folks. The reality isn't so favorable if you apply basic chemistry and basic scrutiny and testing to the gasoline blends and add ethanol to each blend. Plain gasoline, gasoline with after treatment, going up to 5% or more with benzene, 10% or more with xylene, 10% or more with toluene, up to 10% or more of olefins. They could cause massive problems in fuel lines by eating the fuck out of them. These are octane boosters in your fucking tank right the fuck now. Ethanol slows this down. As I said, certain compounds in gasoline can easily cause carbon deposits and such. They put detergent additives and these other solvents in it to boost octane to counter that, to keep the damn cars running. I mean, the fuel preheating before going to the injectors, or using air-assisted direct injection as one part, using pre-chambers for the gasoline injection engines, would also, like they did in the 70s, or they're doing in these. One company's doing since 1999. So that test going into 2012, series of tests and doing it now. A couple companies doing air-assisted direct injection. This would prove it was using a warm pre-chamber, vaporize it all evenly before burning it, and using plasma ignition would help cut this down a lot, and including stop oil diluting and allow engine oil to last longer. But fucking still, god damn, so much shit in gasoline, it's fucking crazy. And ethanol, or you could do it, and then another test you can have 5% or more of each of the benzene, xylene, toluene, 5% of each, or a little higher if you wanted, and 10% or higher of olefins, or whatever those. Or just add all those others to the raw gasoline that comes from them. And what's even more shady is the oil companies, if they don't give you exact copycat, they don't give you the exact same formula each time. They will control their batches, and manipulate shit so to fuck your testing up. They'll try anyway. Ethanol slows that shit down. The only thing you'd need mechanic in a bottle and ethanol shield are to chemically trap moisture, stop the ethanol from drawing any more moisture in, protect the hoses, lines, and gaskets, that actually, from the shitty things they put in gasoline, formulas they have and had for years, and to also restore functions to those, preserve and stabilize the fuel, the gasoline itself as a fuel stabilizer as well, to keep the aromatics held in so they can help everything burn off, keep everything actually working somewhat better. That's what you do, those two fuel additives. I'll link them in Amazon, and I'll show it, see what I'm talking about. I recommend them. They're top-notch stuff. The people that worked on my lawnmower told me straight up and watched the independent testing. But anyway. Point number 7, I've already repeated most of this, saying infrastructure is a nightmare. And David Blume, owner of the company named Blume Distillation, a permaculture teacher and entrepreneur, basically explained this as best he can. I already played the 2 video clips of that one video for this video, in the previous episodes. So you have it. Jeffrey S. Brooks, I already played it for you, the video for you. I'll link him in the description. Want to add points 3 in making all the other stuff for infrastructure you can add. You can add this to point 7 as well by also going further on the half of that, half of what that when I mentioned biodiesel, and go on to that when I said about biodiesel in other previous videos. Really wanted to do something about that. What you could do is take before, not only just what I mentioned about going what they said, but press oil out of the corn before fermenting the starches out to make ethanol and distiller grain feed, to add little bits of Purslane and some of these other additives, and adjust it so they'll have more nutrition to actually get use out of, and all that stuff, like tiny amounts of Purslane, a little bit of ryegrass and things like that, and reduce methane, output a lot more, increase, and to make sure adequate nutrition. Add a little bit of the you can add bio preparation, bio superfood. I meant. But yeah, not just corn oil, but you can also consider, using ethanol, 50-50, mix half and half with methanol for all biodiesel production. Cut, biodiesel making down a lot, costs down more. Also mix the corn oil with collecting waste cooking oils. Bacon grease no one uses, it went bad. Pressing oil from mustard seeds before making mustard sauce, or selling it to companies that make mustard sauce, selling ground mustard spice out. Press oil from coriander seeds we grow in the USA before selling the spice off, or selling it off to companies that make extracts, extracts of it. Get the oil out of waste coffee grounds, get yellow grease, and waste animal fats, all these things to make biodiesel out of, and cut our, costs down. Not only doing all this would make food go down even more, make ethanol fuel production cheaper on the side, make biodiesel a hell of a lot cheaper as an additive to diesel fuel, prolonging engine life. Once you've finally the number 8. Once you've done all these things and made gradual steps towards making these different changes to infrastructures, once you've done all this shit, you've essentially done things needed to solve all the problems, that were falsely, debunk the shit falsely put on ethanol, made food versus fuel lies finally die, made all this stuff much cheaper as, benefiting everybody, reducing costs, reduce subsidies as a whole, as well as taxation money as a whole, while securing some more energy independence as a whole, all while making our meats cheaper, more nutritious, and reducing methane out in the environment, and CO2 as a whole as well. Cutting that shit so drastically. It's fucking retarded how the benefits you can do from this. And I hope my points were clear. I hope not too much. I hope I've said everything. I hope I've covered everything about this particular video. So yes, I will see you later. I will also link you some books too, such as Natural Capitalism, Ethanol Could Be a Gas, Backyard Homestead, something also to factor in on these farms they could take from this and from what I said. I have experience in farming. I used to grow different beans and different produce, and I learned about permaculture over the years. I used to have a series of theses. I had a thesis on permaculture farming put into multiple sections. I gotta dig it up and find it again so I can open source it to people. I'm one of those people that freelance, did everything, but learned just as much. Learned some tricks even the professionals could learn from shade trees like myself. I come from a family history of that too. My dad was like that. My maternal grandpa, my paternal grandpa were like that. Papa Al and Papa Big Robert were like that. They was so much establishment could learn from these guys. My dad grew up picking cotton out of cotton fields in Pioneer, Louisiana when he was little. Some hood rats say, why people don't pick cotton? Yeah, well, my dad did when he was a kid. Yeah. When will the stupid bigotry ever end on both sides? I don't know. But yeah, guys. Hope you enjoy the video. I'm done here. I will see you guys later. Take care. I bid you love and best wishes. I'll see you later.